Welcome to Focus on Buddhism. Mind is the pivotal concept in Buddhism. Thus, the Buddha proclaimed 2,500 years ago, mind is the forerunner of all phenomena. Mind is chief, mind-made are they. If, with a corrupted mind, one should either speak or act, dukkha follows caused by that, as the wheel does on the ox's hoof. And on another occasion the Buddha proclaimed, whatever harm a foe may do to foe, or hater unto one who hates, the ill-directed mind indeed can do one greater harm. What neither mother nor father too, nor any other relative can do, the well-directed mind indeed can do one greater good. These two verses adequately illustrate the emphasis placed on the mind in Buddhism. Thus, the cultivation or purification of the mind is seen as the method to follow should one wish to overcome the unsatisfactoriness or frustration in life. This task is a long and tedious one, but the results are uncompromising. However, what is more important to know is that it has to be carried out by each for themselves. No one, no God, nor the Buddha himself can cultivate one's mind. Therefore, one of the basic teachings in Buddhism is to be self-reliant. What Buddhism teaches is a set of guidelines for one who wishes to travel the path. Buddhism invites one to come and see and to be convinced for oneself. There are no beliefs, no axioms, no assumptions. Tonight we will look briefly at the methods described by the Buddha in order to cultivate our minds. The speaker is Venerable Mahinda from Singapore, and tonight we will be broadcasting an extract from one of his talks given in Sydney a few months ago. Here's Venerable Mahinda.
Tonight I shall speak about mental cultivation, or cultivation of the mind, or this mental development. Now, how would you cultivate a plot of small piece of land? Before you plant some seeds, before you sow some seeds, you have to remove the weeds, isn't it? First you remove the weeds, and then you till the soil. Now, the mind is also like this. There are various kinds of weeds in the mind. What kind of weeds are there in your mind? We refer to the different kinds of defilements, different kinds of impediments or hindrances. They are the real weeds in the mind. We have to know how to weed them out. There are two processes. One process is just by putting a stone, just like putting a stone on top of the weed. What happens to the weeds? They don't grow, no? And they are the growth is suppressed temporarily. But when you remove the stone, you see the weeds, the grass grow again. On the other hand, the other way of removing the weeds is to pick up and uproot, throw. And that is a difficult process, that is a very tedious process. But in that way, what happens is the weeds no longer grow. So, mental cultivation also, we have these two approaches or these two processes. There is what is called samatha bhavana and vipassana bhavana. Samatha means calmness, tranquility, calmness, quietness, stillness of the mind. The other one, vipassana. Vipassana refers to insight. Insight, wisdom, penetrative wisdom, vipassana. Vipassana or bhavana is that method which roots out the defilements, mental defilements. Whereas the other kind of meditation called samatha bhavana, they actually control, they temporarily suppress, temporarily control the growth of various kinds of defilements. Now, both approaches are useful, have to be applied in the process of the cultivation of the mind. And in fact, one should complement the other. Now, what is samatha? What is involved really in mental development or mental cultivation? According to the Noble Eightfold Path, according to the middle path, three important factors are directly involved in the development of the mind. And what are these three factors? First, right effort. Second, right mindfulness. Third, right concentration. These three factors: effort, mindfulness, and concentration. What is right effort? Right effort is, sometimes we also use the word right energy. But we have to understand that this energy is not physical energy. This is mental energy. It is an effort, mental effort, a mental factor. And there are four kinds of efforts, right efforts. Firstly, there is the effort to prevent unwholesome or unskillful thoughts from arising in the mind. When there are no unwholesome thoughts or there are no bad thoughts in your mind, you need effort to prevent it. Now, in spite of preventing, certain unwholesome thoughts may arise in your mind. When the unwholesome thoughts has already arisen in your mind, you need another effort, the effort to overcome the unwholesome thoughts that has arisen in the mind. These are the first two efforts: the effort to prevent and the effort to overcome. These first two refers to the unwholesome thoughts, controls and get rid of, eradicates. Then the third effort, the third and fourth, refers to the goodness. It to maintain the wholesome thoughts or wholesomeness in the mind. That effort to maintain. And there is the effort to develop the wholesomeness that is not there. These are the four kinds of effort when we talk about effort. Right effort is the application directly to avoid evil and to do the good. Then, what is right mindfulness? Four foundations of mindfulness. There are four foundations of mindfulness. In other words, four things that we should develop, through which we develop our mindfulness. What are these four foundations of mindfulness? First, the mindfulness on the body. Second, mindfulness on feelings. Then there is mindfulness on the mind. When we say mindfulness on the mind, we really refer to the state of the mind. What state of the mind? And then mindfulness on mental objects or mindfulness on Dhamma. Now, how do we practice mindfulness on the body? One popular or one well-known way of developing mindfulness on the body is through the development of awareness of breathing in and breathing out method. The breath. in other words. The breath of the body. And there is also what is known as the bodily postures. Sitting, standing, going, lying. 4 bodily postures. To be mindful of these 4 bodily postures. Then there is the mindfulness on various actions of the body. Whatever actions you do, whatever bodily actions, with reference to your eyes, when you are looking straight, directly in front of you, you should be mindful that you are looking straight. When you are turning around, be mindful that you are turning sideways. There are many people who do not know, no? They are not aware that their eyes are somewhere else. And be aware. This is how you develop mindfulness on bodily actions. And stretching your hands, bending, eating, drinking, and whatever you do, mindfulness on all the bodily activities. Clearly comprehend these bodily activities. The clear comprehension means you know why you're doing it. So, the mindfulness on various bodily activities. Then, there is the mindfulness on the elements of the body. The basic elements of the body. What this body is made up of. Earth element, water element, fire element, wind element. Of course, we don't divide them only that elements. We have to study the properties and the manifestations, the characteristics of these elements. They manifest into the forms, solids, hardness, softness of the body, which is the manifestation of the earth element. Then the fluid element, cohesive properties. The heat element, fire, temperature, and the wind element, form or motion, vibrational energy. When you move, what is it that causes movement of your body? What is it that causes your body to move? You think muscles? Oh, it is the wind element, the air in your body. If you don't believe, just stop breathing. Still, no more motion. But don't try. Because, unless there is what you call a good cardiac surgeon here to pump you against, to massage your heart. You see, these things, very often we take these things for granted. We do not know why we move, how we move. There are these basic elements of the body that gives rise to these characteristics. Then, so we understand the 4 elements, basic elements, and their characteristics. That is also understanding the body, mindfulness on the body. Then, there is another aspect, mindfulness on the different parts of the body. How many different parts of the body? The ancient medical system in India analyzes, the medical science analyzes the body into solid and liquid parts. 20 solid parts and 12 liquid parts. Hair of the head, hair of the body, nails, teeth, skin. It's all the extension of the outer ones. 5. Then we go in deeper to all the various organs in the body. The heart, the kidney, the lungs, the diaphragm, the spleen, and the brain, all this. Bones, bone marrows, these 32 parts. And then the fluid parts, the bile, phlegm, saliva, and it includes also, synovial fluids also. Oh, very systematically how they have analyzed those. And people ask, if we do not cut up the bodies, how can we understand these different parts of the body. Right? If you practice this meditation, just develop your mindfulness on the different parts of the body and hair of the head. Just be aware of the hair. First, just the boundary, the skull, and then become aware of just one strand of your hair. Focus your attention there. Feel all the itchiness and all the dandruffs and all that there. And that is how you focus your attention, just one there. Keep on focusing this one again and again. And hair of the body. This mindfulness enables you to see the hair, the body. So, this is how mindfulness on the body. And there is one more aspect of mindfulness on the body, the 9 cemetery contemplations, the different stages of bodily decomposition. Now, the purpose of developing mindfulness on the body is to see, to enable us to see clearly the nature of the body, whether it's beautiful or not. Beautiful? The concept of beauty arises when you put all of them together. But when you separate them part by part, our surgeon will tell you, when he removes the heart, the lungs, kidneys and intestines there, stomach here, lung, small intestine, then you go there and say, beautiful body? Not so beautiful. And there is one meditation also. One way of developing the mind by meditating on the loathsomeness of the body. This body is as outless 9 with wet, damp skin cloth over it. If only this body, try to visualize this body turning inside out. Can you now visualize the body now inside out? The skin is inside and all the inside outside. What will happen? Nice smell. You will have to spend more money on lotions and other things, fragrance. So, this is the nature of the body. Realization of it. Then, that is what we call mindfulness on the body. Then there is mindfulness on feelings. Mindfulness on feelings refers to pleasant, unpleasant feelings and neither pleasant nor unpleasant feelings. Then there is mindfulness on the mind, the different states of your mind. Different, whether the mind is tainted, whether there is craving, there is desires, there is aversion or hatred, anger in the mind, whether the mind is confused, or whether the mind is peaceful, calm, clear, sharp. Understand. Just be mindful of the state of your mind. And that is how, when your mind is confused, stop. Become aware. This mind, confused state of mind. Then you can take steps to overcome that confusion. And don't work on this confused mind. Then there is Dhamma, mindfulness on mental objects. And when we talk about mental development, there are a few things mental objects, a few Dhammas that are very relevant with regards to mental development. We have to find out what are the factors that prevents or that obstructs mental development. And we speak of the 5 mental hindrances. What are these hindrances that blocks, that hinders mental development? Firstly, there is what is called the desires for sensuality. When there are desires to please the senses, mental development, concentration power cuts off. Then the second one is aversion. Aversion. What is aversion? Strong dislike. Now what happens when you try to concentrate on one object of meditation? Let it be the breath or some other object. If it is the breath, you try to concentrate on the breath, or you try to focus your attention on your breath, and then you cannot. You feel the breath not there. Again you try. After trying again and again, they cannot. There is an aversion arise in their mind. They get sort of heated up, you can say. Aversion cuts the concentration. And your dislikes. Various kinds of dislike. You dislike certain sound, and aversion towards sound. Aversion towards pain. Yes. When you sit down, pain comes up. What do? You get angry. Pain. And get up, quick up. How long already? Aversion. And no concentration. That aversion is a mental hindrance. Then, third factor. Sloth and torpor of the mind. The mind just refuses to cooperate with you. You want to apply your attention to the object of concentration, the object of meditation. Once, twice, good, can follow. After that, your mind says, okay, right, on strike. Goes on strike. And that state of mind conditions sleepiness, drowsiness, and laziness. The sloth and torpor of the mind. So, that is another hindrance of the mind. Then, another one, restlessness of the mind. The mind becomes restless. Why restlessness? Restlessness conditioned by craving, by desire. Restlessness also arises through remorse. Then there is skepticism, doubts. Various kinds of doubts arise. You think, especially those doubts, you say, Buddha enlightened. How do you know? Can we really gain enlightenment? And even before you start, you have doubts about the Buddha. You have doubts about the Dhamma. You have doubts about the Sangha. Is he really enlightened? So you have that kind of doubts. That doubts cuts off the confidence. These doubts are only overcome through actually understanding, knowledge, wisdom.
That brings us to a close of tonight's program. For those of you who are interested further in the practice of meditation, here are a few announcements. A retreat led by Ayya Khema will be held at Wat Buddha Dharma Forest Monastery in Wiseman's Ferry from January the 3rd to January the 12th. For further information, ring 043 731193 in the mornings only. 043 731193. Sydney Zen Centre conducts meditation on Mondays, Wednesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Every third weekend of the month there is a 1 or 2 day meditation retreat. Please ring 660-2993 for further information. 660-2993. Daily meditation and chanting is conducted at Wat Buddharangsi in Stanmore from 7 to 8 p.m. Contact number is 512039. 512039. If anyone is interested in obtaining a list of all the Buddhist centres in the Sydney area, please ring 797-8085. It will be sent free of charge upon request. 797-8085. Next Tuesday, we will be broadcasting a talk given by Joseph Goldstein on why do we practice. In this talk, Joseph Goldstein looks at the attitudes towards practice which one should develop prior to getting involved in serious practice. The last program of this series of Focus on Buddhism will go on air on the 1st of January from 3 to 4 p.m. This will be a special edition in which we will look at the concept of peace in 1986, the International Year of Peace. What is the Buddhist approach to peace? Is it practical? These are some of the issues we hope to discuss. That's the 1st of January from 3 to 4 p.m. on 2SER FM. This program was brought to you by the Buddha Dharma Society of Sydney and was sponsored by Mr. Michel de Grief. May you all be well and happy.